Hello and welcome back to another Big Sunday live stream. We got 13 songs ahead of us in an odd shift. I actually recognize most of these artists, which is pretty interesting. I'm excited to get into them. Are you? How's your Sunday going? Lots of questions to start the day. Answer them if you like. So far we have Pear, Gakyu, Charm Tiger, No Man is an Island, FHI, and Spiral Out here. Kind of a slow start to the day, but I assume people are going to start rolling in after we get a few tracks in. I don't think there's anything special about this week, at least not here in the States, that would have people slow rolling in. But maybe there's holidays elsewhere or something. Bonjour, I have to use my 4 years of French somewhere. Gakyu, yeah, I'm sure we're going to find something good today. I'm sure of it. Alpha Mist is going to be delightful, I'm going to assume. Dirt Poor Robins, always excellent. You really got to be in the mood for harmonious writing, though, for those two, which I know you tend to like a little bit punkier, noisier stuff. So maybe Zach Hill will be something up your alley. And we do have Swancry later on at the end of the day as well, which is a Japanese group. So I'm sure that's going to have a few fans. Y'all never say hi to me. I think y'all do. It's implied with the everyone and the y'all, and kind of assume I'm a part of that, unless I'm not, in which case, well, fine then. That's cool. I don't have to be a part of everyone. Cinematic Orchestra, you recognize, good instrumental stuff. It's got orchestra in the title, so I'm sold already. I can't wait to see what we end up with that. I'm also the Violent Magic Orchestra, which the only thing I know about that was when I was checking the volume on it. It is a lot of flashing lights. It is just, like a 4-minute strobe warning. So I will make sure to let everyone know before we jump into that music video about it again, just in case anyone new joins in. But the music video is high contrast. Darkness and then a pure white screen flickering back and forth rapidly. I actually thought about not playing it, but it does seem to be a key part, the visuals to the music, so I think I'm going to leave it in a small window just in case, but I do want to show it. When you appear, you deserve the shout out. Well, thanks, man. All right, let's get today rolling. I don't even remember what we're starting off with. Oh, Drug Bug. That's right. Between Months. We have a comment for this one from FHI. Bit noisy indie art rock with some emo elements, really beautiful. Currently in my top 3 from this year so far. Good starter just before Rainbow Month as well. I do need to figure out what I'm doing for June. I think last year we did a dedicated Pride week, and the year prior I did a bonus video every week. I'm trying to find a way that doesn't impede on other people's choices too much. Like I thought about swapping out some special selections for it. That kind of slows down the special selection process. Doing the extra video every week is a lot, even though it really shouldn't be. I mean, it's just one extra video, but I put out a lot, so trying to find a way to balance it while still getting to a good number of them. I think last year we got to 10 tracks, which is more than we've ever done before, and I'd like to do something like that again. But it is tomorrow. Tomorrow is June, and I haven't solidified anything yet, so maybe improvising everything I'm doing. Sent a special request of a song 2 days ago. When can I expect it to be up? Let me double check real quick here. If you head to the link tree, there is a spreadsheet in there, a public spreadsheet, and you can go to the special selections list tab and see where yours is. I don't believe yours is added to it yet, but we are looking at 1, 2, 3, 4. So you're probably going to be in the 5th week from today. So generally speaking, I'd say it's the week of the 29th through the 3rd is probably where I'll get to it. But no promises on that. As I was just saying, I'm actually thinking about swapping out some special selections to focus on some other stuff for June's Pride Month, so it's possible I won't get to it within that time frame. See, I was thinking about doing it instead of create a request as well, and I think it slows down that process too, and I only get to 50 of those a year. I don't really want to remove that. I know the thing is that I'm locked down. I really don't have much flexibility in my schedule. And I need to find a way to introduce that. But that may be what I end up doing. And I probably could do the Pride theme again. I think that helps too. If I get like a second video of every Friday plus a whole week devoted to it, there's 10 videos again. So, Signups, welcome. Oh, Loke Force, this is your first time on the live stream. Pretty cool. Glad to have you. I hope you enjoy your time here, and we'll see you another time as well. I mean, I hope that's for everyone too. I haven't thought about how many people have shown up once and then just never popped in again. Like, oh, geez, what did I do to scare them off? All right, let's get into some Drug Bug here. What a title, called Between Months. Let's see what's going on with this track. The EP will not let me down. Very cool. Wait, EP? I may have to message you about that later, see what's going on there.
Oh, I can't stand this anymore. My feelings change, not like before. So I'll close my eyes and go to someone. Close my eyes.
Is it just me, or is this tempo really difficult to keep up with? It felt like it was simultaneously slowing down and speeding up.
So go down the road, leave myself so slow.
Yeah, dude, this is fun.
Now it's all the time I'm thinking that I'll get up and go. Everybody wants it, but I never know if you or I will amount to something here. Not here.
Okay. Hey, Mark, what's up? I'm hoping this grows on me a little bit.
Reminding you that life's so
Okay.
short. I'm sure you
Rhythmically odd there.
knew. To think
Yeah, almost too varied. I think there's an indie rock. There's an indie rock through line on it, but each of these sections is quite unique. Okay, I'm liking this part. It has some really interesting ideas to it. I think that the guitar work on this is generally good. I think the atmosphere is consistently magical. Whether it is a sort of wild magic, like the noisier guitars that don't have the rough edges EQ'd out, or it's almost woodland-like. Something about it feels very, I don't know. I can't describe it. It's just, it all feels like magic, but I don't ever think that that completely comes through the production of it, the sound of it. It's too raw. And something that I've learned while listening to this song in particular, because I was thinking, I like raw production. I grew up on 2000s post-hardcore, and emo production was garbage back then for the most part. Clarity just wasn't a key focus, even for bands and producers with money behind them. So why don't I enjoy this? And I think it's actually the thinness of it. If it were muddy because the low end were too large, I'd have a nostalgia for that at least, but it's too thin. The vocals are often too quiet, the guitars aren't layered or wide enough, and again, on the distorted guitar parts, there's just not enough EQing, shaving off those harsher overtones, and it's kind of painful to listen to a little bit. So, Saved by the Black Metal Tremolo. Post-hardcore actually uses tremolo quite a bit as well. So I think that's what got me. Kevin, thanks for the sub. Definitely between months doing June at the end of May. Yeah, thought about taking this week off, but I think I mentioned last week that I have to take a week off in June. I don't know what date it is, but I won't be able to stream that day. So I'm trying to get ahead of the curve and make sure we don't run into any logistical problems with that coming up. But yeah, I think overall the production just isn't strong enough for me to enjoy this, but I appreciate the composition of it. I think what's on paper is solid. There's a lot of emotion behind it. There's a lot of exploration of atmospheres. I think they do a great job of all of these ideas. I wish the transitions were a little smoother. It feels like we're just rapidly jumping between concepts, but at least there is some sort of almost indie rock thread that ties it all together some way. It's not like we're jumping into, metal or show tunes or hip hop or anything like that. Like it's still very concentrated. There's just not a lot of smooth movement between energy shifts. But I do wonder what this would sound like with a different producer behind it, and if I would enjoy that a little bit better. I think I will check them out though. I'm going to bring it down, being that it is a release from this year. I'll throw it into my recent release list. There we go. Which I'm pretty caught up on. I haven't checked out Friday's releases. I haven't checked out last Friday's releases. So I'm technically like 8 days behind, 9 days behind. But up until this point, I've listened to everything that I've set out to listen to. So I'm excited about that. This has been a good year, by the way. Very strong lineup for this year. It's going to be tough picking out some albums for the AOTY video in January. All right, next up, we have the Cinematic Orchestra featuring Fontella Bass. All That You Give is the track. Oh, dang, I gotta fix that. Wait, can I fix it right here? Oh, no, I can't. Can I? I can, but it's gonna take more work than I thought. Anyways, let's get some context for this, and then I probably am gonna try to fix this up. From Mario with no context. Okay, no context going into this then. Let's see what's going on with this Cinematic Orchestra. I'm loving all of the speed fluctuations, the contrast, the volume control. Very magical start. This has been a magical live stream so far. I have not heard a lot of Fear Factory. If I've heard Linchpin, I don't recognize the title. Fontella Bass is an R&B singer from the 60s. Biggest hit was Rescue Me. The song was recorded when she was 62. All right, yeah, I've never heard that name, so thanks for the context there. Cinematic is a good description of this so far. It's not really doing a lot to draw attention to itself. It's strong enough. All right, well now it's certainly drawing attention to itself. Yeah, dude, coming back into this, solid transition. Subtle little additions too. Very subtle cello in the back. Yeah, again, cinematic is a good word for this. A bit subdued and underplayed, typically to carve out space for attention elsewhere, maybe a video, the cinema, if you will. It's a small orchestra though. I mean, we have a string section, we have a percussion section. There's a drum kit in the percussion section, which is a little unusual. That's either a synth on that sustained note back there, or some sort of glass bell. Glass bells are very unusual. I can see the Massive Attack comparison, yeah. It's definitely atmosphere overall else, and what you're gonna get out of that is what you want out of the music you're about to listen to. This is something that I think very easily drifts into the background, which is what you want for a cinematic score, but I don't think this would be as good for like a critical listen to really dive into it, just because there's less moving parts to the track. We have the upright bass, which sounds great. We have some strings, usually held out sustained notes on the violin and the cello. There's some percussion in here. Aside from the drum kit, we have some orchestral cymbals. I think I heard timpani in there at one point in time. Some wood blocks, chimes, all sorts of auxiliary percussion that I think is really cool. That's kind of it. And then the vocals. A.Caliber PF or Excalibur PF. What's up? I thought the X might have just been like some leading symbols. Old Xbox gamer tag days. But no, I think it's Excalibur. Yeah, definitely a beautiful track though. 6 core members up to 24 during live. That tells me a lot because it felt minimal. And like I said, for an orchestra, we're kind of missing the brass and the woodwind. So only having 2 of the sections makes sense if they're only going to have such a small amount of core members. Doing fine. I'm doing excellent today, man. Glad you're here. Hope you're enjoying the music so far. And I hope you're just enjoying your Sunday in general. But what this thing does above all else is atmosphere and groove. And it does those it excels at those. The vocals, I think, are just the cherry on top, something to give it that extra movement. Otherwise, it kind of feels something along the lines of, post-rock. Very textured and atmospheric, very emotional, but just not a lot to latch onto specifically. You just got to enjoy being in the vibe. And even the vocals, once I noticed how repetitive they were becoming, they kind of became a background texture with the rest of the instrumentation as well. Definitely a cinematic idea. I'm going to pull that down. If nothing else, I don't listen to a lot of music as background noise, but might give that one a shot. We don't necessarily have a theme to the stream. If you've seen the streams over on YouTube, the title for the stream just kind of comes from wherever the conversation takes us or any patterns that pop up in the musical choice. It's kind of figured after the stream. All of today's tracks are randomized from the patron requests. And I'm not taking song requests for today, but I still am taking June requests. If you join the Patreon, link is under the video. You can put in your June live stream request. Every patron at the critic tier or higher gets one every month. And I think we only have 2 days filled. I mean, we just started taking requests, but today and the 7th, I think, are filled. 14, oh no, I think the 14th is filled too, and then 21st only has a couple. So we have plenty of slots left over. Uncommon voice tone. You care to elaborate on that? I'm trying to think of what you mean by that, but I don't really hear anything outside of what I would expect from an older R&B track. It's kind of soulful while still in that R&B range. I'm not going to say it's completely generic, but it's definitely what I think of when I think of an R&B singer. But it might be just I don't have a lot of experience with that or something. I don't know. I'm always interested to see other people's takes and perspectives on stuff. In Flames is next. Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. Yeah, uncommon for today, 100%. Have I heard of No Na? I haven't, but I think that's a very interesting band title. I'm assuming a band name, artist name. I missed the guttural growling section, obviously. Dude, if there was growling in that slow track, one, I did miss it, but two, that would have been very uncommon for this style of music. Oh man. You know what's wild though is I don't really think she sounded 62. She's done a great job at keeping her voice. Um, I was gonna say sharp, but I think maybe loose works better. Thinking about it as muscles to control. There's certainly vocalists that as they get into their older age, you can tell that their vocal cords just they're not what they used to be. Now, granted, I don't think I've heard Fontella's vocals previously. I might have heard the track Rescue Me, but again, the title isn't ringing a bell. So I don't really have anything to compare it to. But regardless, if you would ask me randomly, what's the age of this vocalist, I don't think I would have aimed so high. Maynard feels older though. I think that's because I have heard him when he was younger, some of the early Tool stuff. But I can tell that his voice has aged, but I'm more familiar with it, so. But I will say he still has a good bit of range, absolutely. He is not lost as much power or range as some other vocalists have. They could have slipped 3 seconds of grindcore, a 3-second long grindcore track in there, missed opportunity. Known as a new girl group from Indonesia, I have basically zero exposure to Indonesian music, so I'm all ears on this. It'll be completely fresh to me. It means miss or young lady. That's really interesting because my relationship to that term, I don't know what language it comes from, but it's an older person, like a grandmother or something. So it's interesting that in Indonesia, it's a young lady. The recent Pucifer stuff's quite nice. I think I checked out their first single from their new stuff, and it was fine. I don't think it blew me away. Or you know what? I don't think it was Pucifer. I think it was A Perfect Circle. They had something come out lately. Brian's more familiar with out donation music. Highly recommend if you love R&B style music. I don't listen to a lot of R&B, but I generally love the vibes of it. So, yeah, I'll have to check it out. The recent APC track was decent. Yeah, that's what I felt with it too. It's fine. It's a solid rock track. It didn't blow me away, but it wasn't bad either. I don't think they can make bad music, honestly. I mean, they're seasoned within the alternative rock sounds, so it's not like they're gonna do something bad. but it wasn't fantastic. Where can I recommend you some stuff from them? Join the Discord server. If you don't want to join Discord, you can always email me, criticalreactions@pm.me. But the Discord server is in the link. Do I have a link tree under this? I always forget. If not, I need to put it there. I don't have the link tree under there. Oh, I do. It's in the About section. You can join the Discord from there. The email might be in there as well. How else can you contact me? I think those are the two easiest ones. You can also join the Patreon on the free tier, and you can DM me there. Yeah, that's about it. Yeah, the Discord is in the link tree. I don't have any bots set up. I'm still a Twitch noob. I have no idea what I'm doing here. I'm here as a transplant from YouTube. Used to stream over there, and it should be in the link tree. I'll post it in chat for you. Copy link. There we go. While we're on the topic, does anybody have like a YouTube, Twitch noob tutorial video that they can send me, or a web page? Actually, I like to read stuff too, if possible, but I figure since almost all of y'all watch on YouTube, you're probably more familiar with tutorial videos. I've got to learn about StreamerBot and anything else that's available out there. I don't even know what to look for in this regard. I got to start getting educated on this so that people can just do that thing over there. It's like !Discord, and then it pops up. Like, that would be pretty cool. I don't know how to do that. I got to learn. If anyone doesn't have tutorial videos, that's fine too. I've learned all this on my own. Just any reduction of friction helps a lot. Especially since I don't know who's got a good tutorial out there or not. I could spend hours looking up tutorial. Just ask AI. You're probably serious about that. But I don't know, dude. Between the hallucinations and just bad information being fed into AIs being trained off of Reddit, which is full of all sorts of garbage. Is it going to tell me something accurate? Maybe. Is it worth the cost in electricity and water to do it? I don't know. Oh, StreamerBot has docs. I'm all there then. That's pretty much all I need. You give me a good documentation and I am set. All right. Let's get this rolling. We've got some In Flames here from Junie, older death metal. Sorry, death. All right, I gotta use my eyes to read instead of anticipate words. Some older mellow death, not metalcore. This song was released 26 years ago and is still In Flames' most popular song, at least on Spotify. Under new music, is it new music? If the album has come out this year, you can certainly post a link to it there. Otherwise, you can just throw it in the regular music channel. And if you want to @, me, go for that too. That way I get the notification and I check it out later. Pretty tech savvy, so hit you up. All right, definitely will do. Let's dive into some In Flames, only for the weak. What did I offer? Yeah, new music is literally for new releases though. That way people can keep up to date on recent stuff.
I can tolerate your sadness, 'cause in speech you are drowning.
LLM Brian. I sometimes wonder how good I could train an AI to analyze music like I do, but actually I'd be really scared by the results, both positive and negative probably. Ooh, Why do I recognize this vocal style? Refer to Melodeath as not metalcore. I'm gonna catch some flack for this, but why does this feel like if Marilyn Manson actually made real metal music? Like, there's a strong gothic element to this that I wouldn't expect from Melodeath. Well, we've lost some viewers. I don't know if it was the comment or not. I do like the melodic qualities though. Monomark. Yeah, I can hear that. Like you said, it's very specific sections of it. Alright, FHI. See you next time. Have a good rest of your day. Wow, another festival? I feel like we're at a festival once a month. Which is awesome, dude, honestly. Okay, that was interesting. Yeah, that's a really interesting sound. The vocal stack, it is a fade out. The vocal stack is odd. I don't know how to quite describe it. It's thin, but there's a higher one that's thinner and a lower one that's wider, but the wider one sounds wider because of stereousness, because it's split, more so than a stacking, giving it width through multiple layers. But it also kind of has the toilet bowl effect. It sounds swirly. It's like if you were to have clean vocals with the same kind of texture, it would just flat out be bad. You just would not want to have that kind of production on it. And that's because it feels like too much is being scooped out in the EQ. I don't know. There's something really wild about the vocal stack, and I don't know if it's the era that this came out in. I don't know if this was more common for I forgot what genre this is. Melodeath back in the 90s, I'm assuming. Or if this was something that In Flames did, maybe this is iconic for them. I don't know. It's just, it doesn't really work for me. It feels thin. And then you have the synths giving us the main melody, and the melody kind of feels folkish, but the sound of the synth makes it feel electronic, and it almost kind of, I think that's the part that combined with the thinner harshes reminded me of Manson's sort of industrial metal side. And I don't know, it's a very eclectic group of sounds to my ears. As much metal as y'all have made me listen to, this sounds fairly unique to me, and it's because it feels so disparate, and yet they smashed it together and just accept it. You don't understand why this is their most played on Spotify. I will say I don't think it is a generally strong track, but I'm also not a metalhead, and death metal is just not my cup of tea to begin with. So I thought maybe it was just me, but it just doesn't feel interesting, really. The melody is fine. The general cadence of the track, the solo was good. The pacing of it, I think all that's fine. It just needs kick. I think this would have done well with just like a 7 to 10 BPM increase and just give it some momentum. It feels like it's just stagnating. But I thought that was just me because, you know, I like contrast and movement to change and not metal. Toilet bowl effect, like with low bitrate music. Exactly. And that's kind of what this sounds like, a harsh vocal variant of that, but it was only one stack within the harsh vocal stack. And I don't know, it's very odd to me. Inoffensive and decently catchy chorus. Yeah, I will agree with that. And that could, as you mentioned, be why it's the most played. It's definitely going to grab a larger audience than something that is technically good, but less accessible. These vocals belong in the toilet bowl. Dang, it's not even a close race. That is just massively more popular. Opeth are sometimes accused of being mellow death, and you won't hear about it. I don't think I've heard a mellow death track from Opeth. Even in their heavier stuff, they're fairly progressive. But it might be their earlier stuff too that I just don't have a lot of exposure to. The 12th most popular song even on Rate Your Music. Yeah, definitely a different group of people. Elitists are a good word for that. I'm surprised it's that high up, though, given how specific Rate Your Musicers can be. I'll play nice against them today. I have other choice words for their musical choices. But I do agree. I think this is a fairly palatable track. There's nothing too offensive about it. It is melodic. It is metal without really being aggressive. I think a lot of that is because the synth is the dominant sound in this. The guitars are secondary to that. So you kind of lose some of that metal edge by way of the guitars not having a strong presence. And the vocals are, I don't know, they're still weird. The vocal stack is very strange to me. Are you saying that I'm your man for music opinions, or for like the person to go to instead of Rate Your Music to find out about music? Or are you saying that I can attack Rate Your Music people if I wanted to? That you weren't going to be offended by my opinions. All right. We got some Alfa Mist here next, which I'm excited for. This one comes out as from Josiah. Alfa Mist is a composer, pianist from the UK. Jordan Rakai is the guest vocalist. I don't know what BYM would stand for, but oh, well, no. So Rate Your Music would become Brian Your Music. I don't think that works. 4th by rating on Rate Your Music. Also see it 11th on popularity. Interesting. I don't think Rate Your Music would have like per account info. Critical reactions your music. See, Last FM makes sense because that's a bit more of a mainstream idea too. I wonder where it sits on Album of the Year, which tends to be a little bit less elitist than Rate Your Music does. I wonder if it would be a little higher. But still, Skyweb sees it as fourth on Rate Your Music, so it's still not an unpopular track of theirs by any means. Oh, for categorizing Opeth the right way. I gotcha. I always have your back on that. I mean, I'm over here. I'm the genre guy. I'm the guy who's going to, you know, go to battle on what musical genres are. With Brian, it would be put your music in my list. Oh man, I could make a website like Rate Your Music, and it would just be like put music into my list to listen to. I'll never get to it, but at least you know that you've suggested it to me. If that makes you feel any better. All right, Alpha Mist, Structuralism, Door. Let's dive in and see what's going on here. 94 for the year? Or just in total? Or for, like, what's the rate your music? What's the category that it's 74? Oh, okay. Gorgeous start.
Swaying up the trees where the vines, they look like braids in the moonlight. Lights are on, but the cars outside. Is this place still vacant tonight? Turn the handle just to see what's inside.
So good. All right, so that's a 94 out of 100. 98% of AOTY users like that song, or 98% of the people who have voted. But it doesn't have a ranking system like Rate Your Music does. I love the drumming on this. The reverberant bells with the pianos. Super nice. Subtle horn work in the backgrounds. Ooh. Oh, that's it. Well, I'll be honest, I'm a little disappointed. I was hoping that would have expanded into something. It kind of had like a folk flair, and then we went into some classical ideas. I was like, oh, dude, let's see this expand. And then it didn't. That was just the way the album or the track closed off. But I really enjoyed this. It's full of so many subtle details. It is the opposite of metal, which is in your face about pretty much everything it's doing. This is like, well, what if we add this part? But it's over here, it's quiet. You really won't pick it up until your second or third listen, but it's a detail we need to add to this. And I found a lot of this to just be absolutely gorgeous. The vocal work, the bass work is just phenomenal. Hey, Levy. I do accept requests, kind of, not live requests, but if you join the Patreon linked under the video here, you can join at the critic tier or higher, and you get one live stream request every month. We still have plenty of slots open for June as well, so if that's how you want to go about it, absolutely. Dive in there and join up, and there'll be a live stream requests post on the front page, yeah, in the current activities. So look forward to your requests if you're interested. This track though, man, the bass work was excellent. The vocal lines, I told you, dude, the piano and the bells, gorgeous. The bells were just sort of like ripples in water. You would hear the ding and the attack would almost be gone instantly. And then you just get the reverberations. It's just gorgeous. And then the piano playing these chords on top of that. And that's just filling out the right side over here. Oh man, the drum part, so subtle. Couple of hi-hat hits every bar, and some syncopated cross-sticking on the snare. Little bass ideas that played around with what the bass guitar was doing rhythmically. Everything is just so subtle. It's like hints and spices of everything that come together to create this delicious concoction. Absolutely gorgeous. I just wish it was more. We have a pretty subdued intro to the track. And I was like, okay, then we get the classical part really starts building up into this. And I was like, all right, where are we going from here? And then the song's over. And it's way too short. That's my only complaint with it, is I want more. Yeah, 100%. Moody R&B, that's what this is, with like a little hint of jazz. And I think that's very cool. And I think that's why the folkish into classical transition surprised me, because everything else is generally, to me anyways, jazz coded, like smooth jazz. R&B and smooth jazz have a lot of overlap there, so I can certainly see how you came to the R&B conclusion. You're absolutely right with that too. That's just not where my mind went. But then to take that into like some more traditional classical stuff. Yeah, that's really my only complaint. I want more. I pulled that one down easy. I think I listened to Alfa Mist's album from this decade. I don't remember what year that was. But I'm seeing that they put out an album very consistently every odd year. 2017, 2019, 2021, 2023, 2025. Just super consistent with that. But I guess I got to dive into this older stuff. I don't think I've checked out either of his pre-2020 albums. But if it's anything like this, I'm sold. Fans of Old In Flames listen to Thousand Leaves. Is that an album or a group? All right. Next up, we have a group I've been interested in getting into for a variety of reasons, but one is just the title here, the VMO, the Violent Magic Orchestra. As I mentioned earlier, I do want to give another disclosure. This is a massive strobe effect warning right here. As far as I could tell, this entire music video is just one long strobe effect. High contrast between almost pitch black scenes and then solid white rapidly. So I'm going to leave it up there in the corner just in case. And if you need to put this in another tab or make it audio only or something, for the next 4 minutes. VMO describes itself rather as Napalm Death barging into an a.ka. show, or black metal meets Kraftwerk. What in Okay, I don't think I'm going to enjoy this as much. The orchestra part had me intrigued, but those two descriptions do not. Although a.ka. is, yeah, and Kraftwerk too. I enjoy Kraftwerk's atmosphere, even though it's not a band I actively seek out. I have enjoyed their work in the past. I don't know, maybe this will be better than I think. Let's dive into this. See what's going on with Channel Lurking Demons. Oh, I missed your comment, Spiral Out, about that track being a door to the next. That would be pretty cool. I'm excited to see what else is on that album. Okay. Wow, how did we get here? Oh, it's the last track. Interesting. Do I have a rave setting on this? Okay, what in the world? It's like the Blade theme song. And the Accelerando? Hallucinogen. I don't think I've heard of them. I'm not sure what to make of this group. See, I bet live this is probably a blast. Or at a club. I can see this being very cool. Me just sitting in a room, though, I'm not sure I have too much of an interest in listening to more. I do know somebody who's probably going to enjoy this. I'm going to have to show it to them. Yeah, I like it as an idea. But, I mean, there's a whole section in the middle of this track that pretty much just stole the sound that Eisenfunk uses for a lot of their stuff. And stole, I mean, it's a harsh word. Music is a lot of building off of what other people have done. But I mean, there's a whole section in here that just feels like a stripped down Pong. So I can absolutely see this working really well at a goth nightclub. But then the other parts of this track, like the opening of it, is that really going to work so well in a club? I don't know. That's just a lot of high energy death metal. Maybe veering into the black metal realm. That feels like it works better at a concert. It's all over the place. I don't really know where it belongs, but everything that it does, I find it to be a bit on the iterative side. And so the interesting thing is that playing all of these things together, not smashing them together to create something new, but just playing these ideas back to back to back. I wish there was a little bit more bleed over between them, seeing how these genres can be combined into creating something new. But this track, it's fun. And I think that's all I can really say about it. At least personally, I thought it was an interesting 4 minutes, but nothing I'd return to. You wish they went harder. They definitely could have. You know, I think they could have gone into like a Jaluka direction. Jaluka? That's probably the pronunciation of it. And really merged some of the metal and the industrial and the electronic into something incredibly aggressive and very hard. But I think it would have veered into more of a core territory at that time, which doesn't seem to be what they're after. So, I don't know. The vocalist is a pretty good, they have a pretty good growl on them. It's got enough raspiness to it, but it's still audible. I don't think it's false chord. I actually think it's fry, but it has depth to it. And I think that combination works really well for this. I'm going to pull that one down, not for myself though. Like I said, I got someone who I think is going to enjoy that. All right, we got a pretty cool album art here. And I guess a pretty cool artist name too. It's just S. Did I miss something? Oh, I think I forgot to do context for that one. The context was from a person from Germany. They said the band did not make it in the polls for the unusual genre combo week, but they deserve to have a shot. Really recommend checking them out live. They deliver an absolutely amazing performance. Yeah, I can believe that. That is definitely live music type of music. Live setting type of music. A South African band named Jaluka features Johnny Clegg. Never heard of them. Hopefully we can get that corrected though. I don't think it's going to be June, but some of the patrons have suggested 4 weeks of checking out different regions of the world, kind of getting away from the US and Europe centric music that a lot of the channel focuses on, and dedicating a full week to specific regions. So we may end up getting to find out some really cool African music that just doesn't normally have a shot on the channel. Might be a good time to get Jaluka on if that's something you want to try to get a reaction for. All right, so we have S here, otherwise known as RhythmSect, with the title Janvs Absconditus. I don't know where the stress goes in there. It's one of those. I'm also assuming the V is supposed to be a U, so I went with Janus, but it could be Janvs. I suppose. That just doesn't roll off the tongue as well. Tried to get Paul Simon on this last week that had African players on it. I do think that that's something we don't see too much of anymore. I don't know what it was specifically with Africa and India. I mean, Africa is a really big place. At least India is more of a specific country. But we saw a lot of these cultures being represented in Western music between the 60s and 80s, give or take. And it just kind of isn't a thing anymore. You don't really see that kind of, I don't know if I want to call it open-mindedness, but musical expansion in today's pop music. The whole Graceland album was like that. Yeah, see, that's pretty cool. Kind of getting, broadening your horizons and then incorporating that into your music. I feel like anytime that we see, especially pop stars, whether it is rock or pop music, but anyone in the mainstream, any sort of expansion seems to be within their own bubbles still. You can see a band slowly soften their sound or harden their sound or expand instrumentation, but it's still very Western oriented. Absconditus. That makes a little bit more sense. At least that rolls off the tongue a little bit better. Although I guess it's not too different. Absconditus. Yeah, it's just an I at the end. India is hosting more people than the whole of Africa, though. Oh, absolutely. Wait, for real? It took me a second to... I know India has a very huge population, but I'm trying to think of like land size. Africa's bigger than India, isn't it? Land-wise, but it has more people. I know India, like I said, I know they have a pretty big population. That's kind of crazy, though. So even though it's a single country, there's probably a lot of cultures within it then still, right? 1.4 billion. Current population of Africa is 1.5. That's still really close. Yeah, that's ridiculous. China's up there too, though. I know China was over a billion at a time, right? I don't know where they sit today. It's crazy to think about. China's at 1.4, okay. And then I think of like the United States, which is, it's a pretty big chunk of land. And I think we're at, I don't know, somewhere between like 6 and 10 million. Like it's crazy for single areas to have billions of people. 600 languages. I knew there were a lot of, well, I think I knew there were a lot of dialects, but I didn't know the full-on languages. The first Israeli prog rock band on For a Reaction, the Churchills. We've had some Israeli music on the channel before, but first prog rock band would be interesting. Oh, I was missing a couple zeros. I don't know why I thought it was so much lower, but still, even at 350 million, we're looking at a quarter? Even that's undercutting it. Somewhere between a quarter and a fifth of India. I mean, that's just crazy. Language is dialect with army. South Africa makes up 440 million. Yeah, see, I don't know, that's bonkers to me. There's so many people there. The people density is wild. And then I think about the United States, and there's just a lot of areas with low population density for the land, just kind of empty areas. So that's probably a big reason. If we filled up every piece of land with people the same way that big cities do over here, I mean, we would probably have similar numbers. We don't have a population like that. A language is just a standard dialect. Interesting. Critical demographics. I'm big on stats. I don't think I'm necessarily too interested in cultural, or sorry, country populations specifically, but I love comparing numbers and then thinking about those numbers in relationship to other numbers like people per capita, sorry, land per capita and stuff like that. So like, I don't know, numbers are crazy, dude. Stats in general, crazy stuff. All right. That's a lot of words to say I'm autistic. You know, it's funny. When I made the mental health video last month, I got a few comments like, have you been diagnosed? Do you have ADHD or are you autistic? I'm like, I don't know. I've never been diagnosed for anything. Used to be obsessed with Ripley's Believe It or Not or Guinness World Records. I can see that. Even myself not being too interested in it, the sheer idea of looking at people on the fringe, of people who are just different. They can do things different. They have different skill sets and stuff, pushing the human body to its limits. I'm a huge fan of that, dude. Guinness World Records, absolutely. Being diagnosed doesn't automatically fix things. Wouldn't that be awesome? I mean, that would work really well in the computer world. I don't have to fix the bug, I just need to identify it. You think 50% of people are probably on the spectrum? No stats to back it up, just a gut feeling there. I don't know. I've never really thought about it too much. And on a live stream, I don't think is the place to start. Do that on my own time and maybe come out with some conclusions or something later on. Let's get this train rolling though. We got S, RhythmSect, Janvs Absconditus. I think I pronounced it right earlier. I don't remember what that was. From Jaron. My favorite find of the last few months. They describe themselves as dark funk. Two-man project. Please give it some love. The band has 10 listeners on Spotify. All right, let's dive into this. See what they're bringing to the table. It's interesting that they describe themselves as dark funk, because despite the saxophones, all I hear out of this is black metal. The Ghost Note blast beats are not changing my mind on that. Ghost Note blast beats. What are they going to think of next? Okay. I don't listen to a lot of dark jazz. I can interpret this as avant-garde jazz with a darker vibe. But to me, it still reads as black metal through most of it. Growling about partying. Yeah, I don't know if I would call this dark funk. Avant-garde metal is probably where I'd put this, even though we don't have electric guitars. Oh, geez, shading. Yeah, I don't hear any guitars. Well, that could be a pitch shifted bass. Or like a 6-string bass. Ah, that sounds like guitar strings. Interesting about the clarinet though, because that is definitely a sax. We got into some surf rock writing. No, I think it sounds brassy. It doesn't sound like a woodwind. It could be. I've confused bassoon for bari sax before. And it could be a type of compression put on it in post too, so. But yeah, I think it's a sax. All right. We're going to go ahead and stop it there. It does go on for another 30 seconds, but I've been told that it is just noise from that point, and that's past the 7-minute mark. Okay. So it might be a process clarinet then. It still sounds blasty in a way that brass tends to be and woodwinds doesn't, but you know, as always, post-processing can change all sorts of things. This is show them the love you got. I was just about to be kind of mid on it. This is really interesting though. I like it in a similar vein that I enjoy Ashenspire, but I don't think it quite grabbed me like that one did. And I don't know why. This should be more up my alley as it's more harmonically stable than Ash Inspired tends to be, but it just doesn't. I think they do a great job at crafting a heavy, dark atmosphere without the use of guitars. Playing this with apparently clarinets only for the melodies alongside the bass guitar. They end up creating some nice atmospheres. The drums allow them to create intensity. The whole idea of playing ghost note blast beats so you can keep the energy down while still presenting this rhythmic intensity is pretty neat. And honestly, I don't know how you do that, because the whole idea of blast beats is rapidity of playing really fast, and speed typically brings about velocity, which with percussion instruments is volume. And somehow they're quiet and fast. That just takes a ton of control. So I have nothing but praise for the drummer here. But ultimately, just it never grabbed me. I think it does everything very well, but it just couldn't get my attention. And I think the vocals are certainly one thing I'm not gravitating towards. And this might be why Ash Inspire grabbed me, because Ash Inspire's vocalist is passionate. They're both yelling, but I can feel the emotion from Ash Inspire's vocalist. The yelling is just, it's a medium for delivering this. There's no variety to it. It's pretty much the same yelling type consistently throughout, and it just becomes a background sound at a specific point, which is probably fine. I think the instruments are doing a lot of heavy lifting on this. So I think this is one where I'm sitting at arm's length, appreciating what it's doing and how they're accomplishing it, but not something I'm going to dive into. By combining the two, you create an intriguing contrast. A god of transitions, Janus, whose true face or intentions remain hidden, Absconditus. This concept resonates closely with theological debates about God having two simultaneous natures. Well, see, that's cool right there. They've got purpose behind it. I don't know that I would have picked that up myself, even if I had read the lyrics, but yeah, they've got strong intentionality behind it. 10 listeners seems about right. Nah, dude. This band certainly deserves more. I think what they're doing is neat. I'm not going to be one of those listeners, unfortunately. 46, maybe they've jumped up recently, which would be pretty cool. But yeah, if y'all enjoyed this, go ahead and check them out. 100%. Next up is the drones. Did I start updating this and then not finish? The album art is very intriguing. I don't know if y'all got a chance to look at that, but it's why can't I think of that artist? I don't know. It's definitely very non-Euclidean though. Nothing seems to be connected in reasonable ways, but the snake is still finding his way through it all. Escher. Yep, very Escher-esque. Only two are turned sideways. That's true as well. And then there's also the face, which stands out as something unique. Also, I don't know what that S symbol is in the top right corner, but at first I thought it was the old like 90s dollar sign thing that somehow everyone knew how to draw, but no one ever knew where they learned it from. But it is not that. Yeah, I have a lot of questions about the album art. All right, we got the drones next. I think we've had them on the channel before, but I'm going to tell you, based off the artist name, I'm not excited about diving into this. This one comes at us from Zach. Was written after the death of Gareth. Lydiard's mum also won a songwriting award for greatest Aussie song back in 2009. The Drones are the previous band of Tropical Fuck Storm members Gareth on guitar and vocals and Fiona on bass. All right, Let's dive into this, see what's going on with the drones.
My shadow stretch. The sun pours my shadow upon that deck. The water's licking round my ankles now. There ain't no sunshine way down. I see the shots.
Interesting accent point on the drums. The snare, it shifts around.
Bigger than a submarine. Circles, I look in his eye. I see Jonah in his belly by the campfire light. Lord, albatross up in the wind belongs. He's beating his wings while he sleeps it off. I hear the jealousy cries from his dreams unkind. In my ears like a riding crop. Well, the captain was as able as a fake day. He's down the head up in the galley like a slide out Mick. He's lying dying of thirst and he says, alright, fake. Well, we're gonna be alone from here on in.
Not anymore. Yeah, kind of gone in a raw direction here. Both guitar tone and vocal tone.
It looks like nothing but the sea and sky. Lord, remain.
That's a really interesting harmonic phrase too. Whelmed. So I actually looked up the history of that word. Whelmed and overwhelmed are pretty much the same thing. It's a sailor or a boat term for water to be going onto the boat to whelm it. Then slowly land dwellers began using overwhelmed because they thought it sounded more intense, even though your boat already has water in it. What's worse than that? The lies. Reclaiming the word whelmed. Okay. Hey, glad to see someone's enjoying this. Also, welcome, Antarctica. I think it's the first time I've seen your name pop up today. Yeah, we can do whatever you want. Sure. that's pretty much what I was going to say about it. I really love the rawness of the vocals. I love the energy and the passion that get put behind them. I want to know what the lyrics are, especially as Kantarkis mentions that they're really good. And I think that alongside the less polished guitars and bass and drums, yeah, I should be on board for this. But I do think that it feels like it's not fleshed out enough for almost 6 minutes of music. Particularly, I think once we got to the third time, I think, through that chorus, the chorus is already pretty long, and it's hearing it more and more and more. It takes up so much of this track, that one guitar lick, and the vocal melody doesn't modify itself too drastically either, which makes it feel also very similar throughout. And I just think some dynamics would help my attention stick around on the track, even though I really enjoy the general energy and emotion of it. But otherwise, I think it's solid. Everything in here works. And like I mentioned, there's some really interesting phrasing in here too. We start off with some odd accent points on the snare drum in the opening, but even on that chorus, the chord progression changes at very strange places. At one point, I actually thought we shifted to a 3/4 phrase, but come to find out, it all lines back up if you stick with 4/4. It just has a moment where it looks at a 6-beat section where we have a chord change on 1 and 4. Having a chord change on 4 is really weird in 4/4 because it's the last beat of the bar, but having it on the 4 where it's the 1, if you have 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, that makes a lot more sense. And it lines up there because the next chord changes on 7. That would be the first beat of the third bar in 3/4. So it really feels like we've shifted to 3/4, but it doesn't. We end up with a 16-beat phrase overall. It's still best to count it in 4, even though the harmonic changes aren't within the typical places for 4/4. So there's some really interesting things going on in this track on the rhythmic side of things, and it's very passionate on the emotional side of things. I should enjoy this. It's just a little too repetitive for me. Radiohead. I was going to say, yeah, it does not remind me of Radiohead, but I haven't heard Black Stars, so... Yeah, and you know, when it comes to repetition, everyone's going to have their own threshold for it too, so... And on the flip side, if I knew the words, I could pay attention to the variety coming through there, possibly, and maybe the musical repetition wouldn't hit me as hard. But devoid of that, I'm looking at primarily the melodies and the harmonies, which don't change much. And yeah, I actually didn't even think about this. They are called the drones, and this song does kind of drone on. It isn't quite as bad as drone music, but it is singularly focused, and that could be quite in its benefit artistically. The bends specifically remind you of a Radiohead track. All right. You won't say it's better, but at least you're more familiar with it. We got some Foxblood next. Kingdom Come. This is a wild album art. The album's called Dissociation Vacation, which is phenomenal. What happened to critical, not cynical? Look, I will be critical all day, but drone music is just... It's one of those genres that I just have such a hard time even understanding what people see in it. I understand people like it. I'm not here to discourage people from listening or making it, but dang, is it not my cup of tea in this? At least I can understand why people like black metal or any of, you know, avant-garde jazzed or whatever, like I see why you enjoy it. Drone's just not that for me. Lyrics are about reoccurring depression due to the death of Gareth's mother. Just when he thinks he's broken out of it, it comes back. Uses sharks in a sinking ship as a metaphor for grief. Yeah, dude, that sounds crazy powerful. Sun is your workout music. I could not do it. I would go mad if I listened to some stuff like Sun or Earth 2 while doing anything, but certainly working out. Drone music makes you cynical. Y'all heard it here first. Oh, man. All right. I don't think we have context for this one. We don't. Comes from Kevin. Let's dive into this. See what's going on with some Foxblood. Okay. Okay, this is a good start. Wild rhythms. Big harmonies. Where are you taking me? Yeah. I'm pulling this one down already. Why does it sound like a slow Eminem? There was no context for this one.
We came to see him clear. Heard the bullets, felt the fear. We fell on the sun. Rallied to die by the guide. Some toil on to pagan songs. Speak to me in pilgrim tongues. Judas all along. Drove flash through the third eye. Dropping chemicals for great high. Missile strikes across Damascus skies. Some versus Waco versus Farmer.
Not quite the wordsmith that Eminem is, but the voice is so similar.
Rain bombs on the East Coast, you better move to the big smoke. It's Crownland, it's God's hand, it's heart attacks on the third brand. Leave the light on. Some toil on to pagan songs. Speak to me in pilgrim tongues. Judas all along.
I don't know if I'd call it better than Linkin Park, given how different it is. This is definitely modern alternative metalcore, whereas Linkin Park is alternative rock, new metal. But the mixing of heavy music, screaming and rapping, yeah. These transitions are so sharp though. Oh, yeah. I can kind of see some Biffy Clyro in here. I think it's going to have to grow on me. I hope this isn't their strongest song on the album. There's some really great ideas in here. I don't know that it all came together, but it gave me a window into the kind of music that they're making. I hope, at least. The mix of post-hardcore and new metal, throwing some rap in there, and having this atmospheric, light, feathery electronic stuff. Like, it's a very cool mix of extreme highs and lows. Tons of energy in some places, atmospheric and light in others. And it is very core coded. I mean, there's sections in here that are straight up post-hardcore, especially with the opening heavier section and vocal harmonies. Love them. But some other sections in here feel like it's like a core style of electronic music, or a core, I guess, metalcore. I was going to say a core style of metal, as if we don't have a word for that already. But it's also very modern too. It feels like it's been influenced by groups like Sleep Token, who have been doing this kind of genre mashing for a while now. It is very clean, very pristine, very high fidelity, and lush at times. My biggest issue is that it just doesn't feel cohesive. I think they're doing most of these sounds well. It is a little iterative in places, but it just never flows. It doesn't feel like one idea. It feels like a bunch of jumbled ideas. And like I said, I'm interested in hearing the rest of the album. It is definitely a sound that is up my alley, even if kind of apprehensive if it will end up on my album of the year list. But I enjoyed it. It was a strong surprise. We don't get a lot of core adjacent stuff on the channel too often. Usually something folk. Folk's very popular. Rock and metal. It's not a lot of punky ideas, which is fine. We're gonna get some Dirt Poor Robins up here next, though. Always love, enjoy, love. Give me a moment. I can't think. Oh, geez. All right. Gotta focus the brain. I always enjoy listening to these guys. They have a lovely overall sounds, gorgeous harmonies. Every time I check them out, I really enjoy them. Could just be that most metalcore adjacent things aren't super interesting. Reluctantly, I think I'm gonna agree with you on that. Happy affiliate anniversary? Is that real? I guess that's pretty awesome. I didn't know that. Twitch never told me anything about that. But yeah, if so, cheer everyone. Throw confetti and whatever those things are called. Oh, Twitch told y'all. Why do y'all get to know it? I didn't get to know it. It's on my dashboard. It doesn't say anything in here. I got a sub goal that was started. And some subscriptions that came in. Nothing about affiliate anniversary. Dang. Come on, Twitch, do better. Although, to be fair, I might just be looking in the wrong place, too. As I mentioned, I don't know how to use Twitch. It is a thing that I have access to, and I know how to put a video through. That's about it. But yeah, going back to the metalcore thing, I think I reluctantly agree with you on that. It's fine, but I don't think I have any metalcore albums in my favorite albums list. And certainly not traditional metalcore, like the old school stuff that was very hardcore punks coded with metal guitars. Like that stuff I've only been introduced to recently. My exposure to metalcore tends to be the more mainstream side, and it's mainstream because the harsh edges have been sanded down and made more palatable, and by definition that typically makes it less interesting. So I might agree with you on that one. Mind checking out an Indian folk metal band? Not today on the stream, but yeah, I mean, you want to put it up in the Discord server or something, you want to email me about it. I'm always down to check out new music. You can find my email and the Discord link in the Linktree link under the video. It's in the About section. Oh, yeah, Bloodywood. Yeah, dude. I don't know if I'd call... I mean, they are... Some of their songs are folkier, for sure. But, yeah, I've heard of them. I'm pretty sure I've heard most of their big singles, but I've never checked out an album. Most recently, I checked out their collab with Baby Metal, which was a pretty solid track overall. So... I have a couple of metalcore bands I still really like. They're on the heavier, gentier than pure metalcore. Yeah, like the traditional pure metalcore stuff never really clicked with me. The melodic mainstream stuff, you know what? I do have one album in my favorite albums list, and it's the debut EP for Bullet for My Valentine. It was called Hand of Blood. That is an incredibly solid, like 20 minutes of music. Yes, I do believe that's where they got their name from, kind of putting a bit of a metal edge on Bollywood. Bleed From Within, Heart of a Coward. I've heard of the Agonist. I don't think I've heard of the other two. But yeah, just something about metalcore just never really clicked with me as much as I love core adjacent music. All right, let's get this road back on the train. Wormy. Not entirely sold on the second half of the song, but the staccato strings, bass, vocal effects, and high whiny synth in the first part just really do it for me. Let's dive into this. Check out some Dirt Poor Robins. Bollywood. Devil Wears Prada was a group that a lot of my friends got into, but not me. Metalcore must be metal. Brian does not enjoy it. Let me bump this volume up a little. There we go.
He only hit her with an open hand. He thought that made him some kind of a gentleman. I do my best just to understand how we could ever be.
Oh yeah, post-metal tends to work for me too. Core-wise too, yeah, post-hardcore is awesome. Oh, okay, good night. I don't know. Okay, Good Night's very definitely prog. This is a folk band to me, or like indie rock.
Sometimes gets the best of me.
A zombie themed EP? The Postman Horse Rings twice. I like that.
Wake up to catastrophe. Go on and bend the smoke and find some clarity. Oh, I guess that it could have been worse than this, but I haven't met a human yet who is living with no regrets. More or less, though I'm sure that it can be fixed. Is this all there is?
Did you mean to leave to put the T in there? this is going to be the second half of the track then. Oh, I got you now.
The evil that men do lives after them. The good is often covered with their foes. If you have tears, prepare to shed them down. Now you weep. These are gracious drops.
After all, this is who we are. Made of dirt and fed by stars. In a blink of an eye, we'll be undermined. When they bury our graves in the sands of time. After all, this is who we are. Made of dirt and fed by stars. In a blink of an eye, we'll be undermined. When they bury our graves in the sands of time. When they bury our graves in the sands of time. When they bury our graves in the sands of time.
But were I Brutus and Brutus Antony, there were an Antony would knuckle up your spirit and put a tongue in every wound of Caesar that should move the stone.
I assume that goes into the next track. Yeah, I mean, I completely agree about how strong the first half is. It is everything I look forward to in a Dirt Poor Robins track. A nice bit of slightly progressive indie folk that still latches on to catchy melodic works. The vocal melody throughout the verse and the chorus is absolutely catchy, is very strong. The vocalist sounds great as always. I did miss the dual vocals though. I know that Dirt Poor Robins doesn't always use both of their vocalists, and I'm pretty sure this one works better from a single perspective, but I really love when they harmonize with each other. But the orchestration of the first half is gorgeous. Absolutely love the way everything comes together and keeps everything sort of light and plucky. The second half is good contrast, exchanging that lightness for weight, bringing in some tubas, I think really low-end blasting brass to kind of fill out the outsides. And it does create a darker, heavier tone while reusing much of the same composition. So I do think it works. It's just less interesting to me. We've reduced some of the layers and the orchestration has shifted into something more synth heavy, giving it a little bit of a synthwave vibe overall. Yeah, I'm glad some of y'all are enjoying this. I don't think I've heard this track in particular, but I have listened to the Dirt Poor Robins' most recent album, I believe, and that was just gorgeous from start to finish. So the first half of this track is what I expect from them. Lush orchestration that is kind of folky but still fairly poppy in its in how it's packaged, and yeah, very strong, absolutely gorgeous stuff. The ending is gorgeous too in its own way. It's just heavier, denser. It feels grounded, difficult to move in. I think they do a great job in finding this emotional and atmospheric exploration between these two, and then drawing the conclusion, the parallel between them by giving them both the same melodies and parts, just done through a different set of timbres. I find this to be really artistically solid, but casually, I think I agree with the requester. I don't remember who they were. That the first half definitely appeals to me more. Glad to see some of y'all really enjoyed this, though. If you haven't had a chance to check out Dirt Poor Robins, I highly suggest you do. All right, we got some Siouxsie and the Banshees here. We've had them on the channel a couple of times. I'm interested to see what we get into here, though. This one comes out as from Nate. That is the wrong one. Nate with no context. Let's just dive straight in then. See what's going on. Siouxsie and the Banshees. Playing around with a bit of offbeat accents there. The instruments actually feel a little too fast. It's a really interesting effect they have going on. Like everything lines back up. It just feels like it's rushing, which is wild. Looks like 1981. The vocals getting lost in the transition into this chorus was interesting. Okay. So that's it, no more castanets. All right. Can hear the compositional continuation between ideas, but the sonic alterations are incredibly sharp transitions. Before the 80s lost itself. I don't know enough about the 80s to understand that, but I think it's an interesting idea. Yeah, I think the composition on here is solid for a pop style song. A lot of this is built off of foundational building blocks. We have the lead vocals, which give us our primary melody. We have some secondary melody components, such as the bass and the synth that exist on the background with shorter ostinatos. We got drums in here giving us our rhythm. And it's a very straightforward song from that perspective. And if you listen to it purely from a composition standpoint, without assigning these roles to any instrument, and you just look at the melodies, the harmonies, and the rhythms, you're going to find that it makes a lot of sense. It's just something that is consistent structurally across the entire runtime. And part of that is just this back and forth between verse and chorus. It's the sonic part of this that gives it its identity, but also to me, the high contrast is what makes it a bit difficult to listen to. There is a big difference between the instruments used and the balance of those instruments and the timbres and general range of instruments in the verse, the pre-chorus, and the chorus itself, and they all have incredibly different vibes. Compositionally, this all flows. Sonically, it's incredibly disjointed, and I find that to be really interesting. But beyond that, a lot of this feels very 80s. And I think that's for me one of the hardest parts of getting over the hurdle of the production of the time. Although it doesn't feel as strongly 80s to what I associate with it. It's like it's probably because it's 81. When I think of 80s music, I think of like mid 80s, late 80s, and by then production was a bit larger, I would say. The size of instruments and songs were bigger. This feels a bit anemic at times with how thin some of these lines can be. But it just feels a little underbaked at times. And I wish that maybe some of these instruments could have been a little fuller, a little larger to take up some more space. Maybe we could have had some sonic transitions to allow some of these timbres to gradually, help us move into the new sounds. Maybe the instruments could have been a bit more slightly uniform in warmth or something like that, so it feels less contrasty. I don't know. It's a track that I think is solid on paper, but this version of it, while quite unique, I'm not the audience for. You think their stuff's always cool. Yeah, I think both of the Siouxsie and the Banshee tracks I've listened to, I've had positive things to say about a uniqueness of them. I don't think either of the tracks have really been something I would dive into, but it's certainly not anything I can point to another band and say, oh, they're just this band. I can't really say it's too iterative, at least on the sonic side of things. So that's kind of where I sit with it. It's a very cool track, but sonically not quite for me. And now we got some Zach Hill. Zach is a wild drummer. Makes it difficult for him to always be something I can listen to. A bit on the eclectic, or can be a bit on the eclectic or noisy side of things. Context for this one is from Greg. From his 2008 solo album, Zach plays all the instruments. Although based off of the title, it looks like Chino Moreno from Deftones is doing vocals probably on this track. Keep calm and carry on. Let's dive in, see what's going on. Okay, YouTube, whatever you want to do, as long as we can listen to it this time. Zach's still on lead? Okay. I didn't know Zach did any singing. Oh, that's definitely not Chino.
We hike high, top up, classic rock until the voices stop. Red goes ripping through your mind. Oh, spirit, I just make noise. They wanna kill the noise, but now we gotta run. The sound of hesitation.
Those are wild harmonies.
Goes unsaid, red goes ripping through the head. Yelled in the case, got lost chasing your own voice all day. Wrong way. Spirit just make noise, they wanna kill the noise. That vision don't go down. That vision don't go down. But now we gotta run the sound of hesitation. And it can't be undone, 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 undone. That vision don't go down, go down, go down. That vision don't go down, go down, go down, go down. Waiting on my intuition.
I can see the Primus parallel. This has an increasing amount of compression on it, right? Also, this makes sense if it's a song about tripping. Wait, Zach's playing the bass here? Oh, okay. I was gonna say, because I think the comment said that Zach plays, yeah, all the instruments. And he's a phenomenal drummer, but that bass work was crazy. If Zach did both of them, is there anything he wouldn't be able to do? Just absolutely bonkers. The drum work on here, though, is incredible. High energy throughout the entire thing, constantly dicing up the bars into polyrhythms, the polyrhythms ever shifting to, it is a masterclass in feeling time within time. I've got nothing but praise for the drum work. The bass work is super funky and spicy throughout. I love it. The bass just sounds great from start to finish. It really only has 3 or 4 unique ideas to it that it bounces between, but that's pretty much every instrument across this track, so I can't really complain too much about the bass specifically in that regard. Those 2 parts are phenomenal. The vocals are microtonal. Microtonal. It certainly did go on too long. I don't think we needed, like I said, there's like 3 or 4 sections in this track, and we heard each of them 3 or 4 times each. How long was this? 6 minutes. That should have been like a 3.5 minute song, easy. I mean, maybe there's thematic reason to draw it out that long, but I did not find that the repetition added much to engage with, and didn't really add much to appreciate either. It was just sort of more of what we had been hearing. But the vocals are microtonal. Microtonal. And I found that to be really bonkers against the ridiculous rhythmic work going on with the bass and the drums. And so we have multiple rhythmic devices happening and multiple harmonic devices happening. The kind of track you live to suffer through. I don't know if you'd love to suffer through. Yeah, that's a better way to word it. It is not something that I would say I actively enjoyed. What do I mean by yeah, I didn't actively enjoy it, but I did have a ton of appreciation for this track. So with microtonal, if you look at a keyboard, you can divide it up into sets of 12 keys. What is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, 7 white and 5 black keys. And that'll create an octave. And we've divided that octave into 12 notes. And we call all of those semitones. If you move from one to the next, one white key to the next black key, you've entered into a semitone. Microtonality is when we feature notes between those. And so it basically, to my ear at least, to hear if something's microtonal, it's typically when we look at harmonies that exist outside of what we typically have with the 12 notes that Western music is based off of. Yep, 12 tone equal temperament, or TET, 12 TET. Microtonal guitar is different frets, but vocals. Yeah, all you're doing is singing notes between the notes that we typically have, creating new harmonies because you're creating different intervals between different notes. So the vocals must have been, no, vocals don't have to be produced. Speech is microtonal. We don't speak in only the 12 tones. Our speech is all sorts of different notes being sung. I think it'd actually be really interesting to map out someone's speech to notation, to music notation. First of all, you're just going to have to write it microtonality wise. The 12 notes are not going to be good enough for that. So I think that would be really interesting to do, actually. But yeah, I mean, even just if you look at a slur of gradually moving from one note to another, I hit so many different frequencies in there, gradually raising from one to the other. I didn't, block note from an A to an A sharp to a B to a C. It wasn't jagged like that. It was smooth. I hit all of the tones between the 12 that we typically use in music. Yeah, and that's another good one too, shading, is that any instrument where you can bend a note, like a trombone, or a guitar where you can bend the string or use a whammy bar to introduce pitch shifting, you're going to enter into microtonality. False singing made into art. Yeah. Now, see, here's another thing. Atonality is kind of microtonality. In a sense, atonality tends to deal with harmony in a way that microtone, it's like a Venn diagram that's really closely overlapping here. But like if you're out of tune, another way to view that is that you're just microtonal. Because if you're playing an A, but you're a little flat, but you're not flat enough to hit the A flat, well, you're in between the A and the A flat. You're not out of tune, you're just in a microtone. So, but if the music is written in 12 tone, now you're out of tune. You're not lined up with all the other instruments. So it's, it's all about perspective and what the intentions are. But yeah, so I really think the vocals here, though, are, in a lot of ways, they are out of tune. Because I think the bass is playing primarily in 12 tone. I don't hear any microtonality in the bass work. So if you want to say that the vocals are being atonal or out of tune, you can, absolutely. But I think it's more interesting in this case anyways to talk about them as if they were intentionally microtonal, because given Zach Hill and his love and penchant for more experimental ideas, microtonality is more up his alley. It's relative, exactly. Yeah. I just imagine someone going to a talent show and having no formal training and then just singing. It's like so out of tune. They're like, you guys just don't understand my microtonal skills. All right, human meat. You have a good rest of your day, and hopefully you can show up again for another stream in the future. If I'd ever heard of the band Dirty 3, I have not. The violin player is with Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds. Interesting. All these bands are all connected, man. It's so wild. I'm going to start getting this next one set up. What do we have next? We have Furii. Okay. Bam, 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 bam. Done. The song is called Wraith. This one comes at us from PL Jogging, a bit eerie and ethereal. All right, let's dive into it, see what's going on. Such a crisp... YouTube, seriously, stop. Such a crisp start, and then so fuzzy and warm and wide. Almost like an old speaker, whereas the first one is very modern production. I also just thought about taking like a presentation or a speech and then using pitch correction to lock it at the 12 tones. I wonder what that would sound like. That would be wild too. Yeah, another strong bass track. What is this clacking, by the way? Yeah, auto-tuning speeches, but not applying it to a rhythm. Leaving the cadence of the speech there, but locking the pitches. I just kind of wonder how odd that would sound, or if our brains would immediately interpret it as music. Much like the cardiacs, these chords are just cyclical. They're never resolving anywhere. They just keep going. It's schizophrenic? How so? I don't think I've ever described music as schizophrenic. Weird sounds like, yeah, I can agree with that. But also, parts of it just seem really normal because it's very cardiacs coded. Yep, there's certainly that too. A mishmash of fuzzier sounds and then brighter, very specific tones. Some clarity, some muddiness all mixed together. Wait, is that it? Huh. I don't know what I was expecting from that, but I thought we were still in the intro. Yeah. So it's described as eerie and ethereal, and I think I can agree with both those. But it's like a fun eerie, like a fun house, actually. I think it's a really good way to describe it. Although carnival-esque and cardiac style music kind of go hand in hand, honestly. The ethereal part's interesting too, though, as Synapse was mentioning, that the production just isn't quite cohesive. I picked this up right at the start when we had this incredibly clear, high fidelity chime or ding or something like that, and then we shifted into this sort of mid-fi, muddier, sounded like it was coming out of an old radio instrument that gave us our introductory harmonic information. And as the song progresses, we get a flurry of these instruments where some are clearer and more pristine and others are muddier and dirtier. There's also the general lack of resolution to this, which is also very cardiac-y. The chord progression continues to progress. It never lands anywhere. It's very cyclical and always pointing towards the next chord as if to say, let's go here to resolve, and then we'll kind of go in that direction, but not actually hit the resolution. We'll go into another leading chord that says, well, we're going to go here to resolve. We kind of go in that direction, but again, it's not fully resolved. Instead, it points to a resolution, and it feels like we're just falling down this constant spiral where there's just no end in sight. And a lot of that is due to the chord progression on this. The melody also doesn't help with this. A lot of the melodies are just constant quarter notes, which have a movement of up and down. There's usually a descent followed by an ascent, and they never really land anywhere resolved. They follow the chords. And so the entire thing feels cyclical, like a merry-go-round, if you will, constantly going somewhere, but never really going anywhere. It's always locked into this mode, this idea. Hey, welcome. Works as background music? I could see that. And this does feel like an in-between track. I'd be curious if this is their style of music or if this is a transition or an intermission on an album. It's, I don't know if I'd call it quite unique, given how many parallels it has to Cardiac's writing, but not cyclical, but more directionless. I can go with that too. It never really seems to go anywhere. So yeah, that's just another perspective of how I described it, 100%. But I'd love to see what exists around this on the album, to see if this is just their style or if this was something that fits best in an album with further context around it. But it does work on its own. as long as you know what you're getting in store for. It still caught me off guard when it ended because I felt like we were still going somewhere. We just hadn't gotten there yet. And then we ended up going nowhere. We're going to wrap this up with some Swancry, which I believe we've had on the channel before. Do we need widescreen? No widescreen on this one. Yep, catching the end of the stream. This is going to be our last track for today. The track's called Hana. Comes from Spiro. Swancry is the solo project of the Cisne vocalist a.k.a. Now, I'll tell you, as Siouxsie was an interesting artist to dive into, that album was a lot, but I generally enjoyed what the vocalist was laying down. I thought they were extremely expressive and emotional. So, you guys don't understand real art. Oh, man. We're going to dive into this, see what's going on with Swancry. Let me make sure the volume's right, because I'm sure there's going to be a lot of screaming on this. All right, there we go. Let's kick it. We got a music video, too. Very dry bass kicks. Although I guess instrumentally this is very compressed in anyways. But yeah, Dodo Stalker, I'm here every Sunday from 11 a.m. to about 1:30ish Eastern Standard. And you can catch me over on YouTube at Critical Reactions, where we just talk about music all week. I think the only thing I would want is the vocals to be mixed in a little more. They are really high above the bands. I do like her cleans though. They could be a lot worse. I'll put it that way. But there's a delicateness to them that I think contrasts really well with the screams. I don't know if I'd enjoy them on their own, but the contrast is well worth it. The guitars, they're just gorgeous, man. Beautiful, twinkling, sad boy emo music right there. Oh snap, it got dark in here. Yeah. Could you imagine if I was just like, dang, this song's not great. What's the weather like today? I feel like we've checked this band out before. Yeah, I have not checked this. All right, that gets pulled down then. Easy. Got some good emo in there. Got some screamo in there. Got beautiful guitar work, and it never gets overly aggressive to the point where emo kind of blends into a post-hardcore sound. So I really enjoy that. And much like I mentioned about her vocal work on the Cisne album, it's just incredibly emotive. And I'm glad we got to hear more of the softer stuff here too. If I remember right, Cisne was more focused on the harshes. But the music was also harsher and noisier too. And I love how this just brings everything down a little bit and allows for contrast, allows for beauty to really exist within the sound overall. So I'm on board. I just hope that the album version, the studio version, is more balanced. This is super compressed in. I wish it had a little bit more room to breathe, and I wish the vocals were pulled into the mix a little bit. They're very, very powerful and loud against the instrumentation. I understand they're probably going to be louder. That's just the pop way of placing vocals, but they're just a little too high for me. I think they have been suggested. I recognize the name of this. I'm very surprised to see that I haven't checked them out yet. Speaking about finding out if I've checked something out, I have been slowly adding the older live stream data to the spreadsheet, to the reaction database. I think I have the first 4 live streams added now, and my plan is to have it finished by, I don't know, this year at the very latest. I know it sounds like a long time, but I have 172 more live streams to add into it. So it's just a matter of time, and it is very tedious. I wish I could say I could do 10 live streams at a time, but really it's like 2 to 3 maybe in a sitting, and then I'm like, I'm wiped. Have AI handle it. I actually thought about trying to find a way to scrape, because the way that I built the database for everything else was scraping YouTube's data with a script in Python, I think it was. And that worked out phenomenally, but it's just more difficult when the video title doesn't say anything about the songs or the bands. There's just nothing to really differentiate. I got to go into each one's description individually and pull that information out. So maybe there's a way I could get a script to go about doing it. Maybe I could get AI to handle the scraped description data to build it out, but I don't know. It feels a little bit beyond my meager amateur coding skills. Although I'm waiting to be told to vibe code it. But yeah, I really enjoyed that track, and I think I already said that. Talked about the live stream thing. No, the database. What else did I want to say? There's something else I wanted to bring up. I don't remember what it is. It is going to pour here though. It is so dark out right now. Oh, the reason why I wasn't bored. I looked at my camera area to kind of see what was going on with me lighting wise, and it was just like dark in here. I was like, why is it so dark in here? Yeah, dude, there's no sunlight coming in. All right, that's gonna wrap it up for today then. Thanks everyone for coming out, spending some time with me on your Sunday, listening to some excellent music. We got a lot of really good picks for live streams this month. The schedules are up on Patreon and Discord. They are accurate. Mark, if you're still here, I saw your request. I added it to the schedule, but I accidentally left comments open on the schedule post. And so when I disabled that, I think it removed your comment, but I got your request. It's in the list. You don't need to add another one. And I think that's about wraps it up. We got the VOD that'll be out within, well, I was going to say within the hour, but 1:40. We wrapped this one up a bit late. Within an hour, assuming YouTube doesn't have any issues with it, and the early access will be available soon, a couple hours maybe, for patrons who want to check out tomorrow's music today. That's terrible. Tomorrow's reactions today. Yeah, that's about it. So y'all have a fantastic rest of your day, and until next time, catch you later.